Video for the yes test for the researched essay. So you'll notice that I'm in Canvas right now and I've visited the red flag post in the imperialism essay module. And this is where I have all the guidelines and materials. And if you need a copy of the yes test, you can come here and you can click on that link that's right there, or you can consult it in your packet. So I have a sample essay that we're going to be using to go through some of the yes test items. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to take a look at here is the proper MLA heading. So notice how it says no title page. So years ago, MLA had a title page and they changed it. So there's just a heading on the top left corner of the first page. So unless you're coming from a different school where people use title pages, this is something that most of us don't even think twice about because it's been the rule for a long time. You're going to put your name, the instructor's name, the course, and the due date. And you'll notice that the due date format here is day, month, and year. I think in class I said something about using the American format of month, day, apostrophe, not apostrophe, comma, and then the year. Don't sweat it. Either way is okay right now because I said something different in class. So just stick with putting the date the correct way, please. Either this format or the American format. We wouldn't want to write out the, 2ND for second, so on and so forth. Then we need to have the whole paper double spaced with the title centered. And then your space to the intro. So what does that look like? So first of all, here's my heading. I've got the student's name, my name, MS period for Ms. Miller, and then I have world history period D. So if you're in period A or you're in period G, obviously you would change that for yourself. And then there you see the date format. So this is what I mean about it being in an American date format. And this is what I mean about it being in the format that's listed on the yes test as well. So either of those is acceptable. Then you'll notice that it's double spaced to the title. So what that means is if your whole document's double spaced, then you don't have an issue. In the center, you have a title, and then your introduction starts directly after that on the next line, and it's indented. Okay? Next thing, you see the title is written there. The next thing is that it's 2 pages in full length, no less than 2 full pages, no more than 4 full pages, and that the spacing after the paragraphs is set to 0. So this is kind of a thing that gets messed up when you cut and paste quotations and things from the internet because those web pages have spaces built in. So what you want to do is do select all, and you're going to head on over here to your toolbar and you'll notice there's something that says line and paragraph spacing. So you're going to click on that. Now, ordinarily people just go to double and they leave it at that. But again, because you might have cut and pasted things, you need to eliminate spaces that are sort of invisible to the naked eye. So you're going to go down to custom spacing and you're going to make sure it says 2. And even if it says 0 and 0 already, I want you to go in and retype it because sometimes there's just 3 or 4 lines in your essay that have extra spacing and it won't catch it, at least here in these windows. So you're just going to type in 0 and 0 and then click apply, and you might see your paper jump a little. So if you had extra spaces, you'll see it move because it's eliminated them. And you know that you've gotten rid of the spaces because if you go to the end of your intro and the beginning of your next paragraph, you'll see that there's no extra space in between the paragraphs, right? That this first body paragraph just starts immediately on the next line. Okay? All right, moving on to the next piece here. The essay has a top, bottom, left, and right margins of 1 inch. And then also the next piece is that the page numbers are also Times New Roman font throughout the essay. So I'm going to go over here and do those 3 things. So I'm going to keep it selecting all. I'm going to go to File, and we're going to go to Page Setup. So this is where your margins are. So make sure they all say 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. So there's 4, top, bottom, left, and right. Click OK. The whole essay is in Times New Roman, 12-point font, and make sure the text is black. Every now and then I have students that have cut and pasted text from the internet and it's like a dark gray or dark blue. So make sure that you've eliminated that. Another thing that you might want to do is go to none for the highlight color, because every once in a while students have cut and pasted text from the web from articles and there's like a gray shadow behind the text. So again, you want to eliminate all of those features from those websites. All right, page numbers. For some reason kids struggle with this, so let me walk you through it. You're going to go to insert. You're going to scroll down to page numbers. You're going to select the picture on the top left. We want to have the same page number on all pages. Years and years ago, they used to do no number on the first page, only started on page 2. But MLA changed, and now for the last couple of years, it's page numbers on every page. So you're going to select the one on the top left, and you're going to notice that it's going to default to a couple of things we have to change. So mine defaults to Times New Roman 12-point font because that's what I have set to default to, but yours might be an Arial size 11. So if you haven't set that as a default setting, then you're going to have to change on your document. So this student's last name is James. So I'm going to type James in there before the digit. And then I want you to notice something. Notice how the page number is fairly low on the document. And this is something that we're going to change in a minute, but I just want to show you how to spot it when you see it. See my ruler over here? Okay, so I can see 1 inch. If I scroll down to the next page, notice how my page number is right on top of the essay text. We do not want that. You want to go into your page number and click Options. You're going to go to Header Format. And what we want to do is we want to make the header 0.5 and 0.5. Let me see. There's some extra space in there. So if it is defaulting to like 1 inch, for example, you'll notice that it's really low on the page. And again, it's touching the text underneath it on the next page. We don't want that. We want to make sure that it's 0.5 for those. And that's pretty easy with the page number. Again, you can scroll through and double check them, but that's how they should look. They're going to be close. Let me just make sure there's no extra spaces. Yep. All right, so no extra spaces, perfect, 0.5. And then you can kind of figure it out. It's almost halfway between the edge of the paper and your first line. Okay, so now in terms of format, we've got our last name up there. So again, it's your last name. It's not my last name. And then the controlling idea statement is the last sentence of the introduction, and it should be italicized, okay? So you've got all those things. Next is the works cited. And the quotation. So let's go to the evidence quotation. So first of all, you all know you need 1 direct quotation, 1 paraphrase per body paragraph, minimally. You should not have any citations or quotations in the introduction. We want you to have your voice 100% in that intro. And then the evidence and quotations are properly cited. So can we just look at what that means? First of all, remember that if you have an author, the author's last name is going to go in the parentheses. So this student has a combination of both, and you can see, I'm not sure how to pronounce this person's last name, so I'll use this person down here. The last name is Kant. So I would assume that we're going to see that person's last name throughout the essay. Also this one, Zakaria. We also know that this one right here does not have an author, nor does the one after it. So we have article titles. And the thing that's interesting about this one is that they have very similar titles. So this can't really, if when you're going to shorten these, they're both going to say impact of world. So we have to address that in a moment. Okay. And then the next thing is, this happens every now and then. So one of the things that I can show you is we use OWL at Purdue as a style guide, and we can say citing sources with similar titles. And they can sometimes give us, for example, this one. They can give us like what happens if you have 2 authors by the same last names, right? Or so all of those questions that you might have, You absolutely can find the answers to those. So it was really easy. All I had to do was just say, citing multiple works. Okay. So Owl at Purdue is the style guide that we use at BHS. Okay. So one of the tricks I have, because it's really hard, I think, to see everything yourself, is to Command or Control F, depending if you have a Mac or a Chromebook that you're using. So Control F, you're going to go to find, and what you're going to do is you're going to type in a parenthesis. So what the parenthesis is going to do is you'll notice that it's going to give me 15 of them in the paper. So it automatically is going to bring me to all the parenthetical citations. So remember that author can, okay, so there's that one. And is it cited correctly? So first of all, it's got the author or the title in it. And then the punctuation goes at the end, right? So this student did a direct quote, and what some students do is they'll put a period here, or they'll put a period after the quote, or they'll put the parenthesis right up against the quotation mark. So none of those things are correct. First of all, close the quote, no punctuation, put a space in, then put your parenthetical citation, then your punctuation. So a really easy thing to do, our strategy is to go through all of them and look for that. So one of the things I'm noticing is that this student has something that says New Yorker. Okay, let's look at this works cited. They are putting the name of the publication in the parenthetical citations, and it's wrong. It should be this author's last name. So if I go back to those parentheses, if I was this student, right, I'm going to go back to that and I'm going to get rid of the quotation marks and I'm going to put the author's last name. That's the correct way. And then notice how they have another one. It says Asia Society. When I look at this, Asia Society is a publication. It should be this author's last name. So just by going through with the find tool, right, we could now replace all the ones that said Asia Society, and we can replace it with the author's name. So this is something that you can do on your own papers to make sure you have the correct information in the parenthetical citations. The last thing is a properly formatted works cited page. And this is complicated and difficult if you don't follow the directions, but it's super easy if you do. So first of all, I have a page on Canvas that says Works Cited Information Central. If you click on that, all of the basics of doing a works cited I have included for you. I have also given you this document as the last page of your packet. And these are just kind of the big things that I noticed in students' works cited. So I said, let me make a list of all the things that students tend to get incorrect. However, it's not 100% comprehensive, meaning that there's a lot of things that you could do with your works cited. If you like having a video like this, I can walk you through it with the video that's there. And then also I can refer you to two other guides. So a minute ago, I just showed you Owl at Purdue. So there's that, the works cited page. They have all this information on how to format it, everything. The next thing is that our library, Dr. Costa, has put together this quick reference guide of how do I make the MLA citation for these commonly used sources that students use at our school. So you will notice that there are all different types of sources, websites, a page within a website, an ebook. And then the other thing, online databases, which many of you use, the other thing is that she also has in here the basics on how you do your parenthetical citations, which are also called in-text citations. So there's a lot of tools for you. You just have to go look for the info. And then I have that information in here as well. So that can take you through the works cited. Like I said, the biggest thing I've noticed is that kids mess up the title at the top of the page and they do not alphabetize correctly. So let's just look at that. And then again, there are other things that you can take a look at. So the first thing is that this student did alphabetize their entries. The other thing is that I actually think that they alphabetized incorrectly here because I believe that the World War One should be first because World War One is alphabetically before World War Two. So I actually think these should be flipped around. The other thing is that you'll notice that they have hanging indents. You'll notice that the whole thing is double spaced and that there's no extra space in between each entry. They just start on the next line. The last thing is that they have access dates, which you should include as well. And notice how works cited is just at the top, in the middle, no fancy font, no underline, no bold. And the biggest thing that I want you to see is that it is works with an S. It is plural. I think some people hear, maybe even me, say the word works cited, and because it ends with a S and it starts with a S, they don't hear that it's actually a plural word followed by a word that starts with the same sound. So it's works cited. And that is the yes test. So that is the most current yes test. That's what I can walk you through today. And you should go through each item and just check your own for accuracy, and you're going to be great.